All right.
But I'm still
Did you
in
guys
there.
sign in?
Is it just the inside box?
Yes,
sign
just
in?
the
You
inside
did,
box.
you did.
Is that
Okay.
good?
Did you check
See,
that
you're
out?
not there.
Yes.
I
Just
watch,
sign in?
you know.
I just, if
Sorry,
I
there was
lean
a...
forward,
That's it. You just make sure you're back and just chilling. Okay? Back and chill.
We're not in there, are we? I hope not.
Okay.
I don't want to be, that's for
Okay,
sure.
we're continuing
Yeah.
on this text, which I don't have in front of you, so we're going to recap a little bit. Okay?
okay.
Where did we go, huh? So we discussed, let's just recap over everything. We're talking about, of course, the creation. And of course, we're talking about the 10 sefirot, before and after, right? We learned about what the 10 sefirot was before. That the 10 sefirot before looked like this, and it was in the straight line, which really was the concept right here on page 641. Does everybody have a book? No. Which really is the concept of the situation before the shattering of the vessels. So, as we know that each vessel, because it was independent and not connected to the other one, each vessel received the light, and then too much light, and then as a result, it broke. Okay? This is how we have the concept of overload and shattering and we see it in our world all the time when people get an overload of any kind of influx of information, energy. Things are just too much, too hard to handle. Of course, and this time it was a much primordial, bigger, huge idea. And with the way we always look at it is each one of them has a name, of course, because each one of them represents a quality, a character trait. And as a result of each one breaking, because of the disconnecting that each one had, and the influx of light that they all got, so then what we had to do was we had to create a situation to gather them up, the broken shards. All of these shards, every single thing that's happening here is all called in the four worlds. I'm sure you guys remember what the four worlds are, if I could test you on them. Okay, we'll save that for the Kaballah SAT, okay? It's like a 4-hour test, no, 8 hours, or 20 hours,
Fill in
okay?
the blank or multiple choice?
Oh, yeah.
And will there be
Yeah.
will
No
there be a
fill in the
review
blanks
class?
here. Yeah, and you're not
SAT
doing it
review,
half a
right?
second. You'll have 5 worlds, okay? But let's not get into the world number 5. We'll get into that shortly. But in any case, everything from the highest realms, the hidden realms, these 7 concepts, of course, were shattered, broke, and fell into the lower realms of Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya, the lower 4 worlds. They were from Atzilut originally, which is the highest of the realms, and then it fell into the 4. But now it comes time now where we got to go ahead and rectify the situation. And to rectify the situation, there's a breath that's taken. A big breath. Hashem brings all of these broken, shattered pieces into the womb of creation. And when they're in the womb of creation, so to speak, all these shattered vessels, they have to enmesh and get together. Like being stuck in a tight room with some people that maybe you didn't get along with, and now you have to start to get along. Hi, let me introduce you to somebody. Okay? A lot of introduction. When it's a tight spot, like Israel, right? Israel's like a cholent pot, right? I mean, just like, it's always boiling and raging, and the beans need to mix with the meat, and the meat needs to mix with the onions, and the onions with the potatoes, and we're still trying to cook that cholent. It's in process. It will be ready. It'll be a nice, delicious meal one day, someday, very soon, hopefully, maybe even today. Okay? In any case, these 7 vessels were brought into the womb of creation, and since they were put into the stomach of the mother, so to speak, we're just using just the concept. Therefore, all of these vessels became enmeshed. They learned from each other. They like people have to learn how to get along. What's your talent? What's my talent? I can use some of your talent. You could use some of mine. That nasty 4-letter word called sharing. Okay? It's not 4 legs. Don't count. I know you can.
And it's not nasty.
For some
For
people,
some
it's
people
like,
it
share?
is. Yeah, right.
Share?
Well, if
Okay.
you're 3.
Share? It's mine. It's mine. Yes, the whole idea is to lose that. The whole idea is to recognize that there are others that think they have things that you could actually utilize that will help you in your path. Okay, that's always the big lesson here. That's always underlying everything. Was there? If you're experiencing it, there's something to gain. Okay, if God in the rules of emunah, of faith, if God threw you in that experience, there's something to be gained from it. No question about it. So each one of these 7 vessels are thrown into a situation where they're meeting their other board members. Okay. And they've got to get along. And not only do they get along, they get enmeshed, and each one gets a piece of the other person. So that's why we have, in each one of these, you'll have a micro of every single one of them. So this is the after picture. Let's go to the picture where it has a good one. Right? Let's say the after picture, we could just go right here. Just simply, if you look at any one of these pages, like from 28, where you see all the 10 sefirot. So all the 10 sefirot, you'll see now it's a completely different array. It's not the single line array, right? This is the classic array of the sefirot, of the 10 sefirot, when they're in their rectified state, okay? And then when they're in their rectified state, in this new era of creation, of development of creation, and you have a set of 10, all 10 sefirot, getting along, connected, each one to another one. It doesn't look like it here, but if I can draw in each one of these circles a little 10. In each one of these circles is a micro of the whole 10. And in each one of those is also a micro of the whole 10. Okay? But each one of these circles has really a picture of all of the 10 inside of them, which really is the idea, the concept of everybody's enmeshed, everybody's in the network, everybody's connected. Everybody has. So the biggest idea that really was expressed was by Abraham. Abraham, who was the love guru. For his whole entire life, he only preached to the world that God does not want anyone to sacrifice their children. And it was a predominant thing at the time. Would you believe it? People were doing it. Big campaigns, big, huge, propaganda, whatever you want to call it. The theme, the modality at that time was, we've got the God of Molech, and he has these secrets to your success and your joy and your fulfillment. The God of Molech. And you can come. Here's a free pass. So you go to the God of Molech, and you get into the first chamber. And it's pretty cool. There's like some caviar, maybe some, shrimp cocktail or whatever, I don't know. Some nice little dainties, but then you see inside there's an inner room where they got the lobster and the filet mignon, okay? And they go, no, you can't go in there. That's restricted. And then there's even another one where it's like something else. You got, I don't know who you got in there. You Obama, George Bush, I don't know. You got important people in there also, which you're like really attracted to go into there, and they go, no, you can't go in there. To get in there, you have to sacrifice your kid. And then you can go in. You get a pass to go into that chamber, or the inner one, whatever. So here, for some reason at that period of time, idolatry is not what we understand it now. Not at all. We have no clue what it is these days. But it was like a spiritual pornography, where you're addicted to it, you run after it, and everybody's into it. And it was like whatever you would consider now, which what people run after, right? That was it. And they had the God of Molech, and you had to sacrifice your son, and they had a whole ceremony, and they play the drums so you wouldn't hear the kid screaming because of the fires. There's 2 pillars of fires, and he has to walk through the fires, and he gets burned by the fire. And then you get a mazel. You're in the club. That's how it was. Unbelievable, right? It's something like we can't even
Unfathomable.
You can't even wrap your head around it. Yeah. And that was like everybody's doing it. It's like everybody's got a TV in their house. What, you don't have a TV? Believe me, I'm in the cable company, right? and I'm trying to like figure out my phone bill, and they go, "You don't have cable. We have a deal, a package deal." No, okay.
But even when
And they're like,
everybody's doing
what?
it, there's always the outliers at the end of that spectrum where some people don't buy in or they suffer because they've done it, right?
Well, I can't say that every single person was involved in that idol, but it was very popular. It was on the top 5, maybe top 3. And here's Abraham going, no, this is not the way to go. This is absolutely the opposite of what God wants. It's, and the whole world stood against him, and he preached his whole life. He says, no, it's off the table, right? And then here all of a sudden he gets the directive from God, take your son. It's like the opposite of everything he's been teaching his whole life. And he sacrificed his life for it. He was thrown in the fiery furnace because he would not get involved in any of that stuff. And here he's brought, and he says, Yitzchak, I need a piece of you now. Because Yitzchak was disciplined. Yitzchak was, we're doing this. And we don't deviate right or left, straight forward. No deviation, no, like nerves of steel. Okay? That was Yitzchak. Nerves of steel. When it came time to doing anything what God wanted. And they were totally clear about God wanting it. And then they had this conversation, and that's when there's this enmeshment of Abraham gets a piece of Yitzchak, that ability to be straightforward, and Yitzchak got a piece of Abraham. They got a piece of each other. Yitzchak, who was like your Navy SEAL, no nerves, and then he got the kindness and love aspect from his father, and then it worked vice versa. An enmeshment.
They balanced each other out.
And that's what all of these sefirot are. But the point here is, each one has a mini of the other one, which is really telling us that they're all together as one unit. Now, we have to go to the next step. This is very important. If you can't get the 4 worlds, I don't even know why I'm going forward with you. Okay, but we'll save it for the SAT. Okay? When there is a set of 10, okay, we have what's called a Partzuf. We spoke about Partzuf last week. What is a Partzuf? Partzuf literally means, I don't even know, I looked at the definition. I'm going to tell you the definition. It means a whole set. Set of the whole. Whole set or set of the whole. Meaning all 10. When you collected all 10, you have a Partzuf. If you don't have all 10, incomplete.
Spell that word.
P-A-R-T, part, U.
SUF.
SUF?
Okay, that's part.
No, it's wrong.
Yeah,
Give me a
it's
pen,
wrong.
please. I need to see it. Maybe it has it here.
As I said, I wrote it here.
I spelled it wrong.
And just see how I do it.
I don't know this word. Yeah,
I
I
know
do.
it. So don't copy.
I do it with a Z. P-A-R-T-Z-U-F.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you make more copies
So-
of this?
She's in the process. She's
Okay.
having trouble with the copy
Oh,
machine.
okay.
It's on the way. So you have to know there's something called a Partzuf. It's very, very important in the development of Kaballah because they use these all the time and you have to know. We are talking about a map, folks. Okay? We're talking about a map of the spiritual realm. And they're going to tell you certain streets on this map. And you got to know what street it is on the map. Okay? Because when we are going forward in our study, we're going to be talking about this and this and this, and you got to know where they are. My father-in-law just put it that way. Most Kabbalists enjoy looking at maps, whatever it is, a map of anything. They don't get freaked out by a map. They like maps. The same thing that we're all talking about here the entire time is a map. Okay? It's not a physical location, okay, but it's a frequency, and it has a representative, and it has an influence, and it has an energy. And every time you even talk about it, and this is the deep thing, even though like here I'm telling you very abstract stuff, it is very conceptual, don't think that it means nothing, because even just to talk, like here, you have already attached yourself, even subliminally, subconsciously, and you have pushed a button that opens up to the influence. Okay? The same reason on the other side why we're not allowed to mention the names of certain dark forces as well. Okay? We're not allowed to mention Adam's first wife. You remember Adam's first wife? You ever talk about Adam's first wife? You know he had a first wife? Adam in the garden had a first wife. You don't say her whole name because her name was Lil, and she became the queen of the demons. Long story. We won't get involved. Okay? So we don't mention her whole name. We don't mention her husband's whole name, other husband on the dark side. His name is Sam. We don't say his whole name either. Because even when you say the name, you hit something in your subconscious, in the spiritual realm, that opens you up to the influence of it. We're very sensitive beings. We're more sensitive than we think we are. We really are. Our minds are very much attuned. A lot of it's blocked out because of all of the distraction in the physical world, but really, there's very many deep things that are going on, and there's very subtle influences. And then if you just say the name, you're already opening yourself up to an influence, like one button on your internet, one switch, and all of a sudden, oh, then we don't want that. Are all of them the same page?
No, just the first two and then the second two, this one. So what I did was,
Then don't do the same. Don't do the
That's 16 and
repetitive.
17.
right, that's
Okay,
what I.
perfect.
It'll
It'll be
be
fine.
This
16,
is,
17,
I hope this
and then
is
there's the
okay.
third one.
It's
Oh,
probably
the
just
third
a,
one.
yeah.
Oh, I don't have the third one.
oh, stations of the name.
Okay, it'll be fine. This will be
Is
great.
that
Thank
okay?
you. Yeah, and the other ones too.
The ones.
This one. Is that in here?
No,
Okay.
16 and 17.
Do you have this? I put one
No.
there. Okay, fine, here. This is just one page. Thank you.
okay.
5 of us.
All right, 5. Thank
I
you.
have mine.
You said
4,
You said 4 on the
Sorry.
other one, okay.
please.
I've got another one because.
Need to confuse her.
Okay, so the there's a Partzuf, and there's 4 Partzufim, and you have to know this clearly. Okay? Because the jargon, like I say, I went into something, the subtlety of it. Don't underestimate, even though it might be very abstract and very conceptual, that even just sitting, like my father-in-law says, Sechuso Yagein Aleinu, his memory should protect us. Just to go through the text is a meditation. We are involved in a meditation, even though you're sitting right here and it seems to be it's just a regular class. When you're involved in this study, every single concept that's hitting you is a meditation, and it has an effect. So learning about these things has a tremendous spiritual. Let me just tell you one thing. To just digress just a little bit, that people don't really know this. Okay. This is the original book I learned with my father-in-law. Okay.
There's another one.
The Otzrot Chaim. It's like a lot of small letters in Rashi. Thanks.
This, and here's your original.
Thanks.
Okay, now is there another person?
No, I got an extra. I think and she might have, I hope. He would say, and it was passed down, and it's a little bit of different understandings. An hour, there's different kinds of study. We're talking about inner study, okay? And then there's we call like Talmud study, which is a lot of the Talmudists will pour over all day long in a kollel not too far from here and all over the world. There are people who only study the external part, the halacha, the law, the external. And then there's the internal. So my father-in-law says when you're learning, an hour of this, internal, is equal in the spiritual realm to like a month of studying that. If you were studying that for 8 hours a day, right? For a whole month, that doesn't even equal an hour of studying this.
So is there a direct relationship between the difficulty of studying that and the difficulty of studying this?
I don't know about difficulty. I never, it's all about effort. Difficult for people, but you get what you can. Everybody is going to make effort and get what they can. So the effort made in this, let's say, of an hour, is equal to 30 days of the effort made in that. Or some people say, a year. In other words, 1 hour.
Really the benefit.
There's a tremendous benefit.
More the benefit more than the effort.
Yeah, I what do you say to that? I'm sorry to say, but a lot of people, when you're hit with such an idea, which a lot of people are not hit with. I don't know why this is probably going online. I'm going to be dead by the time I walk out this door. We gotta go take care of him. We'll just drive by shore. He's telling us to stop learning Talmud. No, this doesn't happen. This cannot happen. We cannot allow this.
Yeah, you're good.
So, okay. think about an hour of this is equal to 30 of that, or a year of that, some people say. Right? And it was, they don't share that over down the street. They don't. And I can't. I don't, everybody's in their process. But I'm just saying it's very important. And even though it might seem abstract, don't. It has an effect. That's a very powerful effect. Okay? Hashem should protect all of us. Okay? Amen. All right. So the Partzuf number 1, okay, is called Chachma, Bina. It's familiar. It's one of the Sfirot.
Yeah.
Okay? It's number 2 of the 10 Sfirot. Okay? If you go to page... Now, right?
Well, Chachma and Bina.
If you just get this, page 27 is Chachma. Okay?
So that's the first, Chachma.
Yeah,
Which is
but don't get localized to this. We're talking about a realm here called Chachma, or actually, really, it's called Abba. Abba. What is Abba in Hebrew?
Father.
That's right. Abba. We're just going to call this Partzuf called Abba. You're going to have a Partzuf called Ima. Okay?
Is that 2?
No, I'm sorry. I totally got messed up. I'm totally messed up. Stop. There's 5 Partzufim. We have to start with number 1. I am so sorry. See, because I got confused with this page here. First, we have what's called Arich Anpin. Arich Anpin means long face, literally. You're going to be hit with some names here that you can't wrap your head around. These are very conceptual. These are addresses in the spiritual universe that are so beyond, and I'll explain why in a few minutes.
Say it again.
But you just got to know there's an address. Okay?
Okay, is
It's
that
in
number
a
1?
gated area you can't touch. But
Okay, so it's not Chachma.
you can get something that drives out of the area every once in a while. It's a super gated community, the security's too high. It's called Arich Anpin, which means long face. Okay? And then you have down from that is called Abba. Which means father. Then you'll have down from that another Partzuf, which is Ima, which is mother. Okay? So far we have long face. It's almost like I know it sounds Indian. Too bad. Okay? Okay? So you have Arich, Abba, Ima. Then you'll have what's called Zer Anpin. Zer Anpin, which means small face. Also sounds very Indian. But you gotta kind of shed that. This is very holy. Okay? And then you'll have what's called Nuk. Nukva. Feminine. Okay? So we have 5 Partzufim. These are called 5. A Partzuf, you'd also call it a countenance. I hate that word because I just, don't relate to it. And if any Israeli can obviously gets into what a Partzuf is. Hey, what's the translation for a Partzuf, Naomi?
No, I don't know.
You never seen it? No?
I don't speak Hebrew.
No? Oh, I thought you did. Sorry.
My husband.
Your husband is Israeli. I thought I equate Israelis with Israelis and that's it.
Hispanic. I know some.
Okay, Yofi.
Not that deep.
It's okay. I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting
no
me.
problem.
Okay, so we'll call it a countenance, which is like a face. But really we'll call it a whole set, and that's how it is understood in terms of the equational aspect of when you have a whole set of 10, you have what's called a Partzuf, a countenance, and you will have 5 countenances total. Everything from Arich Anpin, long face, father, mother, small face, and female, Nukva.
Each one of these has 10 within it?
Each one of these has 10 within it. Perfect. Yes. Now, I just want to focus on Zer Anpin, which is called small face. Okay? Zer Anpin we'll see in the spherotic realm. We're getting real conceptual here. Is every single one of these spherot except the last one. So I'm going to now I'm going to rename this whole array here for you. Okay? But you have to understand in each one of these is a whole set of the whole 10 of them. That's why it has another name, because now it has all of them together in one. So you'll have Arich, that's long face, related to crown. You'll have Abba, which relates to wisdom. You'll have Ima, mother, which relates to Bina. You'll have Zer Anpin, which is the 6 sphirot here. These lower 6, we call them the lower 6. And then you'll have finally Nukva, the feminine, which is finally Malchut, the last one. Each one of them have, okay? But you'll see, here's where you get the 3, 6, 1. 3, 6, 1. Okay? We'll get to that later. Okay? Long face, father, mother, Zer Anpin, and Malchut or Nukva. Now I just want to talk about these 6. For all us, we're here in this realm. Okay? And you're going to see us, we're going to talk about Za. We call it Za for short. Za is like Z. What's the because it's letter Z, apostrophe A, if it will help you. Okay? Did she make these sheets yet? Hand them out? Okay, there. Who doesn't have? You don't
I need
have?
one and you need one.
Okay. That's mine. Is that mine? The one with the
Whoops.
line?
That's yours, okay. Let's switch, okay.
Okay.
Here you
Because
go.
it's missing 4 here, but that's okay. Okay? You need one? Which one do you need? Yeah, take.
Thank you.
You need that. Here, you need this? No, the other
Did you get this?
This one?
Did you get this?
That's mine here. Take
Okay, is
this.
there another one for her?
Yes.
No, this
Which one? That one. Okay,
Oh,
fine.
the staple, okay, the first 2.
Okay.
It's fine.
Arich Anpin is something which is way beyond. Arich Anpin, which means long face. Okay? It's something which represents something which we will call the tip of the yud of creation. Okay? But we're not going to talk about that. That's why we have here, you'll have, you see here this column here where it says the Partzuf? Yeah, I spelt it right. Partzuf, you see this column? See here you see Chachma, which means Abba, Bina, which means mother, Zer Anpin, small face, and then Malchut. It has different names. It's very interchangeable. Okay, when we talk about Zer Anpin, and this is what just to get you
We're
this,
missing
just to get
this.
you here.
Right.
We're missing the top one.
Yeah, we're missing the first one.
This is
Okay. Yeah.
whatever.
And
I borrowed this
Malchut
from
and
someplace,
Nukva
and
are the
what?
Malchut
Yeah,
and
we're missing
Nukva are
one
the same
face.
thing,
Put it in?
Yes.
by different names.
I'm just
Yes.
gonna write it in
You just
here.
gonna put it in up there, long face?
You could put it in if you want to. Yeah. But the idea, I just want to tell you, Malchut, which is the bottom one, or the feminine, okay, which is really the realm that we're in, part of, okay? And that's our job to fix that. The way that my father-in-law always described Zer Anpin, the parts of above us, he called it Ein Sof. Ein Sof means
No face.
no end.
No end.
Yeah, the term.
In other words, the highest concept you could meditate on God, is no end. Unlimited. It's a mila shlili, it's a word that negates, meaning it's totally beyond. We talk about God, and we cannot talk about, God as essence. We never do, God forbid. The highest way that it is always discussed that the Kabbalists talk about God is using the words Ein Sof. Unlimited. Because you can't put a concept on it. Za, for us, where we are on this map, is Ein Sof. Okay? The idea that I want to just express to you is, we're in Malchut. Above us, we know God exists. He all exists all around us. He fills all worlds. He surrounds all worlds. But it's a conceptualist concept. It's something you cannot conceive. That's called Za for us. So imagine now, I just want to just share with you, if Za is like the highest level in consciousness that a person can achieve, imagine what is above Za, and you have to just know there's things on the map that are above the conceptualist concept. Bina, Chachma, and Arich Anpin. Okay? Just to let you know, just our highest level of consciousness that you can achieve, which is Ein Sof, is all there is. God is all there is. Ein Od Milvado. There's nothing else other than God. And you cannot even come up with a concept of it. There's things above that, but they have names. For our map, Abba, Ima, and long face. Okay? There's things way above. Okay? Way above us. So this is the tradition that's been handed down from Sinai, discussing the map of creation, that there are things that are so beyond us from ever being able to conceptualize. But Baruch Hashem, thank God, we have the Ari, we have a map of it. We got a map of it. And things come from Ari Khanpin, this super gated community, to another gated community called Abba, to another gated community called Ima, through that gated community to another gated community called Zah, and then things come out of that to our world. Okay? And that's all we can partake of. That's all we're going to be able to grasp. You're not going to be able to go into those gated communities. I like gated because it's too beyond us. Okay?
But I thought we can access our Bina at times.
Okay, so now, in Malchut, like we called it a Partzuf, is a micro of those things, a reflection of it, a taste, a small little extract that we can partake of the Bina. But when we partake of the Bina, and you got a name on it, and that's Bina, where's it coming from? Whoa!
I see.
Above infinity. A realm so above that you can only know its address on the map, and it has a name, Mother. Okay? This is the tradition. It's bizarre that they have names for it, for realms that are beyond us, and then these names of all.
How do they identify the names?
That's the Ari. The Ari Zal, came to Sfat, and like I say all the time, you have rabbis, and you always have people who argue with the rabbis, right? Not just people. Other rabbis argue with these. They disagree. So every rabbi has like a dissenter. Any rabbi who comes out with a novel idea, even Moses had Korach, right? Everybody, the Baal Shem Tov had people dissenters. Everybody who came out had somebody who says, no, we don't hold like that. Meaning, we don't agree. We disagree with that tradition. That's not what happened at Mount Sinai. Whatever it is. But the Ari, the Kabbalist, the 16th century Kabbalist, nobody came against this guy saying he doesn't know what he's talking about. Because he knew it. There's just, we have Shimon, but you have Moshe Rabbeinu, you have Shimon Bar Yochai. They say it's all part of the same soul. Moshe Rabbeinu, Shimon Bar Yochai, who was in the cave for 13 years and got the Zohar. Then you have the Ari, who is the same root soul of Shimon Bar Yochai. And then you have the Baal Shem Tov. Okay? Maybe, But in any case, they both innovated, but nobody argued with the Ari. He said, this is the map. Nobody says, no, it's not. Nobody came out and said that. No, that's not how I received it. He took the Zohar, which is a closed book, and he was able to totally explain it like read it like a letter. Read it real clear. And everybody said, oh, man. Everybody was just blown away. And so this is the map he said came from Sinai, all the way from Moses, even before Moses. Okay, the ancient map of the spiritual realm. Okay? So with that, now we have to get into the next thing, the expansion of the Yud Kei Vav Kei. Okay? This is all stuff we can't even really get into until you know this, because otherwise we're going to get into stuff. But like I said, don't feel it's way beyond you, because even just to learn it is a meditation. Okay? And I'm going to show you how actually you could be practical with this meditation. Very practical. Okay? And it's unbelievable way to be able to grasp thoughts, concepts, ideas in ways, because when you're even thinking about the letter in your mind's eye, you're pushing a button. And then you are accessing. And you're able to access a higher level of thinking. Okay? That's what it's about. It's about thinking. Okay? It's about trying to straighten up and align ourselves with what really we should be prioritizing, what really we should be thinking about, what really we should be contemplating. Okay, so we have the classic name of Yud Kei Vav Kei. And that is, you have a pen I can borrow? Thanks.
Sorry.
It's okay. Yud, and I write it like this, Hey, Vav, and Hey. This is the name of God. The highest name that we have. Moshe Rabbeinu was told this after the 26th generation. He was saying, this is the name. This is a very powerful name. We talked about this name. You know what this name means? We say this name means thought manifest. That means that we're not allowed to say this name these days, right? Because we don't know the tradition of this name. But this is really thought manifest because these two letters, Abba and Ima, right, are in the realm of thought, and the last two letters, Vav and K, represent the expression of that thought, the manifestation of that thought. Thought, manifest. Abra, Kedabra. Okay? That's what it is. Ebara, I will create. Kedibara, as I speak. Okay? Comes from two Aramaic words. So, this is the name of God, classically, in our tradition. But now, if you'll take the word, this letter, the letter is the letter Yud. Now, when I said the letter Yud, really, that has, I said a whole kind of word, because the letter has a name. It has a name. It has more letters. If I'm going to write out what this letter is, I'm going to write it out like this, with a Yud, a Vav, and a Dalet. Now, if I read this in Hebrew, with a vowel, these three letters say the letter Yud. And that's what the name of the letter is. So I've just taken a letter, and what I've done, I expanded the letter. Okay? It's now a letter Yud is spelled Yud Vav Dalet. Okay? This has a numerical value. The numerical value is 20. Okay? So now I'm going to take the letter Hey, I'm going to expand the letter Hey. That's called an expansion. I can spell Hey three ways. I said Hey, but in the saying of Hey is more than just one letter. So I'm going to say the highest letter of Hey, Hey, and Yud. Hey and Yud. Hey, Hey. I put a vowel under it. Say, Ray, you know Hebrew, Hey. So I have Yud and a Hey. Okay? And then you take the next letter, which is a Vav. I'm going to expand the Vav. I'm going to spell the Vav like this, a Vav, Yud, and a Vav. And I'm going to put a vowel. Vav. It's called a Vav. I've just expanded the name, the word of, the letter Vav, Vav, because I said a couple of syllables, Vav. So therefore it is Vav, Yud, Vav. Okay? And then you take the last letter Hey, just like that second letter Hey, and I'm going to expand that. So it's two letters, Hey and Yud. Okay? Got it? It's called expanding each of these letters of the name of the holy name of God. So it's Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey. Now, all of these letters have, because we don't have numerical value, we don't have numbers in Hebrew. We use letters for numbers. Aleph is a 1, Beit is a 2, Gimel is a 3, and so on and so on. So if I take each one of these letters and I want to get its numerical value, Yud is a 10, Vav is a 6, Dalet is a 4. So you say 10 plus 6 plus 4 equals 20. If I take this letter, Hey and Yud, here I don't need this anymore. This is an extra pen.
It's for you. Just
Okay,
keep-
fine. Hey was a 5, Yud is a 10. Hey and 5 and 10, that's 15. Right? And if I take this, a Vav is a 6, a Yud is a 10, a Vav is another 6. I have, what's 10 plus 6 plus 6? 22. And I take this,
15 again.
Hey is another 15, and if I add up all of these numbers, I end up with, mathematicians, extras, please calculate.
72.
72. 72 is very big. I'm getting to the place, you have to be patient. We're in the village of the blind, and we're tasting the elephant. We're not tasting it, we're trying to feel an elephant here. So we gotta go step by step, okay? 72. That's the first expansion of Yud K Vav K. 72. Very significant number. Unbelievably significant number. Okay? And I'm going to take you to places. Okay?
We're going with you.
Okay, well, if you can handle it. This is where most people go, I'm out of here. Too conceptual, too abstract. No, that's okay.
That's where I jump in with both feet.
Okay. Okay. This is the red pill, okay? Red pill doesn't taste so good. Does there have sugar around it? Right? I won't take the sugar.
No sugar.
No. The first expansion, okay? Now, if I take the letters of 72 and I put that back into Hebrew, it's ayin, which is 70, beit is 2, 72, it's called ab, shem ab. So when I refer to, and later, and when you guys are totally experts, if you passed your SAT, Kaballah SAT, and I go shem ab, you instantly have to know exactly what I'm talking about. I say shem ab, that's the expansion of Yud K Vav K with the Yuds. What I wanted to point out is, because you notice how I spelled, the Hey is with a Yud, the Vav has a Yud, and the Hey has a Yud. Okay? I expanded it, but when I did the expansions, I used a Yud, because you're going to see it's going to go different. The formula is now about to change on you. Okay? Because we're going down. We're starting from the highest realms, and we're going to be working our way through the filtration systems, okay, to the lower realms. Because this is called Shem Ab, the name of Ab. Okay? Okay, all you're part of your jargon. Okay, and then the next one. Let's say I'm going to now spell it out a different way. Now here you can look. If you see here, on the page here, I have the top line that I underlined here called Chochmah. And you see the spelling out that I just did here is that same spelling, and you'll see right next to it, not now, Michal. Always she calls. She waits till I'm actually in the middle of prayer. She has this intuition. I think I'll call him now. Okay. So we have the Shem Ab. You see how it has AB there? AB, Chachma, 72, Shem Ab. And it has Yud K, Vav K, and it has the Yuds in there. They don't really do it so good in the English of the expansion, but that's really what it is in the Hebrew. Now the next level down, there's a difference. Now all you Hebrew experts who can detect letters, I want you to tell me what the difference is when I expand the Yud K, Vav K. What is different? I'm asking you. Yud is spelled the
There's
same.
an aleph
There's
instead of a
aleph.
yud.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's Aleph.
Oh, thank you, God. Okay. Yes, there's an aleph. Okay? There's an aleph that's a difference. Just a different way to spell out the letter Vav. I'm spelling out instead of a Vav, Yud Vav, which I did in the realm above, I'm spelling it out with a Vav, Aleph Vav. And therefore, if I spell it out differently, and I add up the letters, the numerical value of the letters, it's going to come out a different number, and it's going to come out called 63, which I would say, put that in Hebrew, 63 is a samech, is 60, and a 3 is a gimel. It comes out to be sag. Ab sag. This is called the ab sag ma ben. So get ready, okay?
Why are we doing this?
Oh, you'll see.
Okay.
This is all meditative. Do you want me to cut to the chase? I will.
Well, maybe
You
should
know, when
explain
we
it
pray,
first.
listen to this.
Explain it first.
What?
We need explanation.
Yeah.
Well, when we pray in the Shacharit service, and the people who put this prayer service together, you know, they were prophets and seers. They were very enlightened individuals. And uber, you know, this unbelievably wise men, Mordechai, Daniel. You know, you're talking about prophets, seers, people who had Ruach HaKodesh. So they put together the siddur, standard siddur. You go to shul and it's in 4 levels. Did you know that? You start off with the lowest level in your siddur, and the lowest level is very basic physical things that you're thanking God for. I got shoes. When you say Baruch Atah Hashem, blessed be you Hashem, Shasali called Tarki, who made me with my needs. You know, you have to have an intention that you have shoes. Yeah. And when you say Baruch Hashem Rokaha Aretz Al Hamayim, you spread the earth over the waters, because you know naturally, you put a clod of dirt into a glass of water, it's going to dissolve.
Mm-hmm.
It's a miracle that
Mm-hmm.
here we are, the earth is 2/3 water, and we have land that hasn't dissolved. Okay? Kind of amazing. Okay, so it's a lot of land, it's a lot of water. Okay? 2/3. Okay? You put one, we make a blessing. You make a blessing, Asher Yatzar. After you come out of the bathroom, you have to really make a blessing. And it's a big segula, by the way, to have kavanah, to have special intention for healing. If you say that blessing, you know, when you come out of the bathroom, thank you, God. I got a lot of holes. I got a lot of places that need to be closed, a lot of places that need to be opened just at the right time. Thank you that everything's working in sync here, because otherwise, you know, you can go into, like, you know, there's hospitals where there's people with all kinds of tubes and bags hanging out of them that ain't cool. You gotta make a blessing. You gotta have some unbelievable, you know, gratitude.
That's what my plumber said this morning.
Okay, so you have the lowest level, the first part of davening. Okay, that's the lowest part of Yud Kei Vav Kei, the expansion. So when you're actually in the synagogue, my sitter has these words over that section on every single page. In other words, when you're doing this, you have to, I have it in mind, you're in this certain realm. Your soul, your consciousness, saying these certain things, karbanot, we saying the offerings, the daily offerings, all part of that realm of the soul. And then you go to the hymns and praises to God. So when you're saying that, you're in realm number 2, which is called Zer Anpin, or Shema 45. You're in a different realm. And you have to have in mind. And even if you just don't understand it, I don't feel I'm in another world, Rabbi. Doesn't matter. You have to have the intention of that name, and you understand this is where my soul is going. And then when you go to the Shema and its blessings, which is the third part of the daily morning service, you're in the next one. You're in Sag. And then when you're finally in the Shemona Esrei, and it's in the Siddur, just before you go into Shemona Esrei, you just look at that name. You don't have to say it. You just got to look at it, and notice where you are. Your soul is in a completely different realm when you're in the silent prayer. Or at least potentially can be. I don't know, some people are, that's, you know, the mind is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And the Baal Shem Tov says this, and if you just didn't get anything else out of this class except this, okay, it's worth it. It's actually not even from, it's more like, it's also the Ramban brings it down. I just saw it first time, a source. Wherever your thoughts are, that's where you are. Naomi, did you hear that?
Yes, I'm thinking, well.
Wherever your thoughts are, that's where you are. Rabbi Nachman says you have to be very, very careful with your thoughts. You have to be very, very careful with your thoughts. So he brings down a great thing. He says, your feet, if you put something on your foot, let's say you put something on your foot, like one of those bags that you play around with the kids or something, ball or something. So you might be able to fling it with your foot a certain distance. Might have a powerful foot, soccer even, I don't know. But if you just put it on your foot and wing it, not a running kick, it'll go quite a distance. It could. Your arm can throw even greater accuracy. It's pretty far, right? It's amazing, right? And then if you go to the head area, so then you have, right? Of course, your smells, so only can smell at a certain distance. In your ears, you could hear things from pretty far away. But your eyes can see things at an unbelievable distance, right? Very far. Very far. There's a jet plane way over there. You cannot hear it, but you can see it. But your mind goes everywhere. Your mind can go anywhere. It's beyond time, it's beyond space. Your mind can reach all of these places. So you can think of yourself right now, picture yourself on the beaches of Hawaii, drinking a margarita with the cool breeze in your hair, right? right? And then here you're back here, and then you could put yourself in the, in the Galleria right now, crowded Galleria, bumping people on the shoulder, right? Or you could put yourself right now, a couple thousand years ago, at the foot of Mount Sinai. Your mind can go anywhere at any time. It is so limitless. And yet, because, Rabbi Nachman says, because of the expansiveness of the mind and its ability, therefore its power is much greater. Because it can influence, actually, and take in influence. It's that great. Right? Wherever your thoughts are, that's where you are. The great story I speak of the Partzufim Rebbe came to this guy at the end of praying at the prayer service after the silent prayer. He says, "How was Leipzig?" Leipzig was a place like the Galleria. It's like another town where they had a big market, big fair. Everybody comes and gathers and sells their stuff, like once a year, big huge thing. And the guy says, Rebbe, I have no idea what you're saying. I was never a day, I was never a moment in Leipzig. I said, well, why are you asking me? He says, well, that's where you were your entire Shemona Esrei. In other words, your entire silent prayer, that's where you were. In other words, the Rebbe knew that his mind was not where he should be. And let me tell you something.
Takes a lot of control.
And not really, because let me give you this imagery here, where it's going to help you a lot. Okay, it helped me. Okay, when you go into that silent prayer, you're in the private chamber of the king. The door's closed, and here you are, just you and him, face to face. There's nobody else. Now, if you had a chance where you could be in the private chamber of somebody who could really do something, the ultimate shaker and mover of things, okay, right? You're going to focus. You're gonna say, I really. Now, of course, we get distracted, but if you just keep that imagery with you, it's a powerful imagery, isn't it? Imagine you're going up. I've got it on here, but I don't know where it's going, Rabbi. Okay. But it's the ultimate powerful imagery of being in the private chamber of the king at that one moment. And here here's your chance. And you've been waiting, let's say, you imagine now, you've been waiting your whole lifetime to get that, or at least a month, right? Let's say you got an appointment with Trump, okay? You got a private appointment with Trump. All your grievances or whatever, you could write it down, you can have it there. And then all of a sudden, poof, you're in, the door's closed. What are you going to say? What are you going to think? Okay? Something like that. Okay? So but here, most people choose to go to be in the Galleria while they're sitting with the king. Right? Yeah.
I want to tell you a story of how I learned firsthand about this. So, I do energy healing. So what I've learned in energy is that we're all connected through our fields. We have near fields, mid fields, far fields, and we're all connected through them. And before I was learning, when I was in treatment still, every time I went to see my teacher, my therapist, she'd say, you have tears in your field. Every time I went. And she would repair them, and she would talk to me about the things that I was thinking. And it turned out that I was doing a lot of self-deprecating thoughts, and it was a pattern that I'd been doing my whole life. It just was who I was, just berating myself, as many of us are known to do, and I continuously kept tearing my fields. And finally, I reached a point, I guess one week it wasn't torn, and we focused on what did I think about that week, so I could finally start seeing, oh, that's what it is. It's just stopping that. It's just a bad habit. A bad habit.
Yes.
And I was tired of her telling me that. And so I stopped it because I didn't want her to keep saying, your fields are torn, your fields are torn. So I actually managed to
And she told you
stop.
as a result of your thoughts?
Yes. And I stopped doing it.
Good.
And my fields are not torn anymore.
But it took concentration
And it's just like any other
It's just like
change. You
doing
have
the prayers.
to
You have
catch
to
It's what I
yourself
talk about all
doing
the
it.
time.
And when you
It's what I
catch
talk about all the
yourself,
time.
you
And that's what
leave.
that's what this
It's hard.
process
It's hard
process is about, changing your patterns.
Right.
And if I would all of a sudden in the entire world, the keys to the typewriter would be changed to A, B, C in the order, right? And we're used to those who type, for those who try to type. if you wouldn't be focused attention and you go automatically wander off, you'd go back to your old way of typing instantly. So you always have that gravity pulling you to the old typeset, but now you have to go ahead and teach yourself a new way of thinking. Okay?
But we're all born with a blueprint for all these behaviors, for the good behavior, the
Yes.
one we're supposed to have.
And the challenges.
So
to-
if you reset the blueprint, you can change that behavior.
every single
much
second you have the
easier.
potential to do that.
Right.
Every single moment. Every single moment, okay? So the thoughts are very powerful. As a matter of fact, Rabbi Nachman says, there's certain parts that we have in our Torah that are tragic. And the laws which deal with tragedy. And you read in Jeremiah about the dirge of the destruction of the temple, and there's certain parts of the Talmud. Am I beyond the time? Okay, we'll close off with this, and he says when you're reading those, because you're learning, everybody's studying all the time. You got to go over them quickly. Don't sink into them. Don't let yourself to get caught up in the details and try to figure it out. Just read straight, because the mind is very, very powerful. And as a matter of fact, I mentioned also the shattering of the vessels. We cannot learn it except for very specific times. Because why? You're just learning it is hooking up to an energy. Our minds are very, very powerful. And to think about things like that, they do have an effect. Okay? So, we learn, so, that's what the idea here is. To see, even to look at these letters, even for a second, has a tremendous, powerful effect. And that's why you have to know what level you're on. When you do the prayer service, the basic prayer service, you're going up levels. You're going up levels of consciousness. And when you're finally in Atzilut and you're in the king's private chamber, okay, which is this expansion of Yud Kei Vav Kei, whatever it is, but then once you have that simple meditation, you are now punching in the sight to be access to a greater wellspring of energy and information that you were not aware of before. It's a meditation. Okay? Like I say, there's 3 parts of Kaballah. There's your theoretical, which we've learned all up to here. But now I just got to give you the last of the theoretical because you have to know these names. And then you can move into the meditative, and then we can get to other realms, okay? Other things. But meanwhile, just so that you know, each one of these 4 expansions of God corresponds. That's only one place. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And it corresponds to unbelievable things. But you have to just have these handles in order for me to take you to the places that I want you to go. Or hopefully you'll be able to hold on. It's a jungle cruise, man. This is a jungle. We're in the jungle. We got your backpacks. I'm showing you things here, left and right. You got to just know what it is. Okay? All right.
Okay.
Hope I didn't bore you.
Boring.
It's totally the
It's
opposite.
very abstract.
Completely
Yeah,
the
well,
But
opposite.
listen, this is training. This is
Yeah.
like, you can't go to doctor school and expect to become a doctor the first day or
Right.
the first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I told you, 1 hour of this is in 30 days of that or a year. It's slow. You'll get it. Be patient with yourself. We're the island. We're the village of the blind, and we're feeling an elephant for the
I
first
hope you'll
time.
be patient with some of us.
I'm totally patient, and
what
I have
I'm
no
thinking.
problem going over it again.
Exactly.
No problem. Don't worry. All of this stuff, every single thing gets constantly, totally embedded in you. You'll go over it in different ways. Where, okay?
So I'll meditate for half an hour in the morning, then I'll say Shema. And if I skip the meditation, I'm not in the zone.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the
I'm not
meditation?
even
then?
there yet.
It's just
Feel better.
You try to get into a little thought zone. Breathing,
yoga, breathing, and
Okay, good.
stretching.
Okay.
Then I'll do
That's
Shema.
great. How long? For an hour? How long do you do that for?
Go for 3 hours every morning. I start really 4 or 5 a.m.
Okay, good. Well, that's really good.
Just wondering, have you found something good after your Shema?
After the Shema, you
I'm not
say the
reading
Shema. How much do you say of the Shema?
No, just a few lines.
Just a
My
few. And you don't do the first paragraph?
No.
Well, that's what you have to do. Read it in English.
Yeah.
I say
Just
it
read
in
it in
English. I
English.
say it in English by heart. I don't say. I don't
Just
know
say it in
Hebrew.
English. Just
Yeah.
that, and you do that because you have to focus on the love. And you should love Hashem.
Yeah.
Because if Hashem is all there is,
Mm.
and because when we say Hashem is the one, we're not saying He's one and not two. We're saying He's all there is. Every single thing in your daily experience, every single person who you contact,
Mm.
is just a manifestation of God for you, to you, for you to grow. Every single second. Rabbi Arush said it really well in his class. He said, when your wife is talking to you, you know, whatever it is,
Yeah.
whether she's criticizing you, like usual, or right, or whatever,
Nah.
it's God telling you, it's God talking to you.
There's a saying, life happens, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it's all part of that shifting the focus to God loves you.
Mm.
Really, there's the blessing just before you say Shema, if you have it in this. Do you have a siddur at all, a prayer book?
I just remember now.
You
Well,
can memorize it.
what's the one? What's the one you're referring to? The blessing before the Shema
Is blessed are you Hashem who loves his people Israel.
in Hebrew.
Baruch atah Hashem ohev et amo Yisrael.
And we're supposed to say that.
No, you need to
every
get
time?
yourself a little siddur.
Yeah.
There's
I don't
really
do
a
that.
simple one. It's
I don't do that one either.
it's not the
I do the whole Shema, with the
whole-
V'ahavta.
Yeah,
every
I do
day.
Yeah.
that in English, but
you
I
know
say
they have
it
an art scroll.
always.
Okay.
Yeah.
So an art scroll has a
Another client,
siddur and it has
there we
the
go.
Shema in it, right here. It's in a few places in it, but you know, and then it has like the first paragraph. And really, when you get up to a level, the best is, I'm telling you, I'm coming from a certain address
Yeah.
here. Okay, all three paragraphs if you can get to that.
Oh.
Because all three address, if you add up the words, how many words? There's 248 words
Yeah.
in this,
Yeah.
which correspond to the 248 limbs of your body. Each one of these letters, each one of these words gives vitality to the 248 limbs of your body. Okay? It's almost like your spiritual Iron Man.
Can I take a picture?
Yeah, so that's the best. Hey, that's easy. That's easier. Sure. Hope you got a good camera there.
reception will be.
Exactly.
Huh?
Yeah, once I have a picture of it, I can make it bigger.
Here's the Shema.
Right,
So we're gonna do it that way.
like with the judge.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And you have the blessing before that,
And then.
which is just
but
say
then-
this, just Baruch atah Hashem Abocher B'Mo Yisrael Yahweh. Just that. If you want to get into that, it's fine.
I keep
Then
praying
get
for
this,
that part.
get this.
Yeah.